Hello everyone, welcome to my humble home. Right now I just want to wish everyone great health and safety during these very trying times that we have right now. Myself, like I'm sure a lot of you, are going a little stir crazy, cabin fever. I don't know if fever is appropriate to say, but being locked up, pretty much confined to our quarters, we still have to eat. So I'm here to just kind of walk you through one of my favorite comfort to go dishes. I have this great machine here that I love to use. If you come a little closer, right here, you see this is a multi-purpose cook and hold unit. It is actually a pressure cooker, okay? But it also cooks and holds, and the thing is great because you kind of plug it in, find a corner area in your kitchen, and it's got this great lid here that kind of, you can put it on, you lock it in place. Pressure cookers today are a lot safer than they were years ago when they first came out, because you know how dangerous they were. They would go on the stove, and we've heard a lot of tragedy things that happen with it. But this little thing right here is so versatile. I mean, it's great. It's a go-to item. I can make about 4 gallons of soup or stew. And there's a setting here that you can cook and hold actually. And if you come closer, it has all these wonderful settings here: saute, pressure cook, low pressure. It's just great. It's very versatile. So for today, kind of went through my pantry a little bit. Listen, produce is very inexpensive. Potatoes I love, broccoli I love. Soup, it nourishes the soul. Soups are great because you do minimal ingredients but maximum love. Take a lot of love and a lot of just flavor and comfort. Everything is comfort. Comfort food means, it's slow cooked. There's no rush, there's not a hurried pace. So this is the type of cooking that I actually enjoy, and my family, they really enjoy it. So if you come a little closer, I'll show you exactly what I have here. Now what you see here is all of the ingredients that I need to prepare this wonderful pot of soup. But this in the kitchen world is called mise en place, and what it is the gathering of all the ingredients and tools you need to achieve a task before you try it. So when I was in culinary school, they stressed this to us so much. I mean, mise en place was 90% of the battle. So in the kitchen, preparation is literally 90% of the battle. If you prepare yourself, you set everything up, you're not running around, looking for this. Meanwhile, the stuff that you're cooking is burning, okay? So if you come a little closer here, very simple ingredients, flavor profiles, flavor combinations, they build on certain things. So in regards to soup or stews, you always want to start with your base. It's called mirepoix in the kitchen. So it's 50% onion, 25% carrot, and 25% celery. Now this is a base, this is a building block for flavors, for stews. Most of my soups, they begin with this process. So again, in the kitchen, a professional term, it's called mirepoix. So right here I have some chopped garlic. I just took fresh garlic cloves, peeled them, smashed them, and chopped them up, minced them. For today's recipe, I'm gonna use butter. Butter is king in the kitchen, but again, in today's world...
Excuse me for a minute. How much of that garlic do you put on there?
I have a recipe that's going to be attached, okay, but this is actually 4 cloves of garlic.
Okay.
For everyone who doesn't know, this is my wife, Evelyn. She's took the liberty of videotaping us today. So this is a pilot episode. I've never done cooking on video before for an audience. So you guys, just bear with me, okay?
Okay.
But again, this is a labor of love, and this comes truly from my heart. So again, if you come closer, I'll show you. This is a butter, okay?
Right. Unsalted
butter. I did 4 cloves of garlic. I just minced them, okay?
Garlic. How much of the butter?
Don't interrupt, honey. The recipe is going to be provided, okay?
Okay.
Again, 2 tablespoons of butter, okay? Going back, this is 4 onions, okay, that I small diced, okay? This is 4 carrots, okay, that I actually took peeled and small diced as well. Right here, this is a head of celery, okay? Pretty much the celery heart, per se. Took it, washed it, cleaned it, okay? Small dice. Right here, this is the stem part of the broccoli actually. So you want to reserve the florets like I did here, okay? Just to add the florets at the end. Now again, you can puree this soup, you can mash it up. There's really no rules to form. All the flavors are going to just, mesh together, just going to be great. Again, that's the beauty of cooking, especially soups and stews. They're one pot wonders, you know, just great. Here's some potatoes. This is about 6 russet Idaho potatoes that I peeled, and I kind of did like a nice medium dice, okay? And I just put them in water so that they don't turn color on you, okay? So you want to cook this in whole, all right? So now the unit is on, okay? So we can start the cooking process. Over here I have just cold water, okay? Over here, what I did was, I don't have any stock available. Again, if I was in my professional kitchen, I would have vegetable stock. I would have plenty of you know, proteins and produce to work with. But for today, it's quite acceptable to use a bouillon. Now you can use a vegetable bouillon, you can use a chicken bouillon. For this application, I do have a chicken bouillon. But if someone was vegan, you can certainly use water. You can use vegetable broth. You can substitute the butter for olive oil. So it could be plant-based as well. And this soup, there's no flour or anything, so it's naturally gluten-free. So a lot of these flavors, they're gonna work out really well together, okay? So if you see here, you can come a little bit closer, right here, into the pot here. So now this has been on for about 5 minutes or so. So I do have it on a saute setting. So I'm gonna just put the butter in there. Okay, yeah, butter is king. You know, if you can take a look in there, see how that's all working out. Okay, that's beautiful. You just wanna, you know, kind of melt it in there a little bit. All right. Now, yes, butter equals flavor. Now I know a lot of people are calorie conscious. You can certainly use canola oil. There's a lot of plant-based fats that you can use. To substitute, you know, coconut butter. I mean, it's endless. For those of you who have dietary restrictions, I'm pretty sure you know how to manipulate recipes, because basically a recipe is just a binder. You know, you kind of run with a basic recipe, realize what flavors work together, and then you adjust the amounts, you know. So cooking should be a lot of fun. All right, so I'm gonna start with, I'm gonna add in my celery, okay? So you can kind of hear that light little sizzle there. My celery's going in there. Now you just wanna keep, you know, working it around. Okay, and then I'm going to add my carrots. Okay, so the rule of thumb is when you're making soups or stews, whatever vegetables are the hardest, they usually take the longer to cook, so you want to start with those first. Okay, so right here, so now I'm going to put in my onion. Okay, now again, this is going to be a very hearty soup. You can certainly adjust the liquid to make it thinner. You can puree it, you can blend it. But for us, we're gonna do like a nice rustic feel, because I think, you know, potatoes are comfort food. Again, the food cost on this dish is great. You know, with Passover coming up, think of it as an alternative as well that you might want to do instead of the traditional matzo ball soup. You can always have this as an addition. I will tell you, once we get up and running at the club, I will be making these soups, and they will be available by the pint or the quart. So come and see me. I'll give you a free sample. You know, again, one of the things that I love the most is, you know, slow cooked foods. Definitely soups. That's one of them. In my opinion, the true judge of a great chef is, how are the soups? You go to a good restaurant, you want to taste the soup. If the soups are good, usually everything else follows, okay? Rule of thumb in the kitchen, you know, the backbone of any kitchen is definitely a stock, whether it's a vegetable stock, a beef stock, chicken stock. We use all of these. Now, again, going back to my instructors at school, there was a rule of thumb. It said good stock equals a good product. So if you start out with a good stock base, everything derivative from that is going to be great. But great. So again, home cooking, you could modify the rules. Listen, you know, you're cooking for your family, kind of a captive audience here. If you want to come closer, you can see what's going on in here in the pot. See, everything's really starting to cook together. So again, like I said earlier, this is a mirepoix. This is a base right now. For any particular soup, this is what you want to do. This again, if I was making short ribs, or if I was making brisket or anything of that nature, any stews, or, you know, this is definitely the beginning of it. And you can't smell it, but it's so aromatic, and this is going to really flavor up your house, you know. And this is kind of what calls everybody, hey, what are you cooking, you know? When we're in the restaurant and we're cooking, a lot of times the soups, they really do attract a lot of attention, because people smell it, you know, in the cooking, and they're like, hey, what's in the pot? So again, so you want to let this go a little bit, okay? It's still getting there. Now again, like I said earlier, these are the root vegetables that take the longer to cook. Obviously the celery, you want that to break down, and the carrots. But again, it's going to be a soup, so it's going to simmer, you know, you're going to keep going, okay? So at this point, right here, so if you come closer, you see, they're starting to get there. They're like somewhat, you know, translucent, as we say in the kitchen. All right, so can you see inside the pot? See what's going on? I'm looking good, right? All right, very simple. This is all fun, guys. Not to be intimidating at all, and practice makes better. Again, for this soup, again, I'm using this, but you use the same technique, okay? In the kitchens, what we focus on are not so much recipes, but really technique. So if you have a sound technique, the recipes you create yourself. It's kind of like you learn how to fish, here's a fishing rod. Now you go fish and you do it yourself. So basically, the kitchen fundamentals, this is what we want to instill in everyone. So again, it's going along, okay? So we're cooking, we've still got our mirepoix going back and forth, okay? So at this point, I can tell by the way the vegetables feel, they're kind of, they're getting to where we want to go, okay? So now here, this right here, you see this? These were the stems from the broccoli. So what I did was I cut off the florets, and I'll give you a little demonstration. Once I got the pot going, I'll show you exactly, because I reserved a head of the broccoli just to show you how easy it's going to be. So here we go, okay? So now I added the broccoli stems per se, okay? Now we're going to saute that up in there as well. Now, broccoli stems, believe it or not, they're very underutilized. There are other applications you can use. One of the most popular would be, believe it or not, there's a broccoli coleslaw, where you can actually take the stem of the broccoli, you peel it, and you put it into a box grater. You mix it with carrots, your vinegar, your sugar, a little bit of mayonnaise, a little pinch of citrus, and it's great. And it's a nice alternative, but it's also very healthy. As we know, broccoli is very healthy for us. It's loaded with vitamins and minerals that we need. It also is a fibrous vegetable, so it's kind of good. It's good for the colon, It's good for a lot of purposes. And besides that, it tastes great. My kids actually love broccoli, so it's funny. My granddaughter, God rest her soul, she is 5 years old, and we go to the supermarket. She runs to the broccoli, literally, and she'll grab a head and say, I want this. And I'm like, wow. So funny, because just a couple weeks ago, we were in the supermarket, and she saw broccoli, and she just got really excited. So she was jumping up and down to the point where there was a customer in the aisle. She goes, I gotta tell you, that is the first child I've ever seen in all these years that's that excited about broccoli. I think it's because she likes the chicken and broccoli, probably from the Chinese restaurant. Maybe that could have something to do with it. But anyway, again, broccoli is great. You can dress it up, you can put cheese on it, you can do a sauce. I love making like a broccoli and fettuccine alfredo. It's excellent, It's a vegetarian-based dish, but it's so flavorful, and you have a lot of fun. And to that, you can add chicken. I mean, just again, broccoli is very versatile. So here, okay, if you come closer, you see right here, see inside the pot? See what I got going on? Okay, we're doing the celery, onions, and the broccoli stems, okay? Now here, I have the potatoes, okay? Now the potatoes, again, I peeled them. I want to say there's about 6. They were small, so if you get an average size russet Idaho potato, baked potato, red bliss potato, they're basically any potato that has starch. Most potatoes are loaded with starch, but this is the most versatile, simple. The russet, I probably paid about $2.50 for a 5-pound bag, so you get a lot out of it. So I'm going to add the potatoes to it, okay? So if you get closer, you'll see. Now again, this is almost going to be like a chowder, guys. This is a very hearty, filling soup, okay? So now I added potatoes in there. So you see, and this wonderful little crock pot here, it's helping to do a lot of the work for me. And I actually had to move into my dining room to prepare this because my kitchen is very, very tight. So I'm used to a commercial kitchen where, I got 20 guys in there cleaning up after me on the way we go. But cooking at home is a little bit different, very challenging. I always say it's like cooking with toy equipment. I'm so used to having commercial grade, equipment. Again, I have the Mercedes-Benz of ovens, in my kitchen. So again, but at home, we keep it simple. Again, we do spend a lot of our time in our kitchens. We feed our families. So again, this is always a labor of love. But if you come closer, you want to see what's going on here. It's very, very simple, guys. There's no intimidation at all. Now I'm going to add in the garlic, okay? This was the 4 cloves of garlic that I mashed, I peeled, and I minced, okay? So we're going to add that in there. I didn't want to add it in too soon because, again, there's stages of garlic. If you burn it, it can become bitter. And because this is a soup, there's still a process. So again, now all these flavors are just coming together, okay? So just let that go, okay? I'm gonna let that go for about another 5 minutes or so, okay? So we're still gonna saute a little bit. In the meantime, if you come closer, here's a broccoli. Now, I purchased this in a supermarket, actually. This would be like broccoli spear, per se. There would be a larger root attached to it. So if you're gonna use a root, the bottom stem is kind of bitter. So the closer to the root of the vegetable, the more bitter that vegetable is. So you wanna stay kind of in the center here. But it's very simple, the technique. If you have scissors, you can use scissors, but look at what I'm doing here. Kind of just cutting around, okay? Just cutting around here. See the florets, they just kind of come right out, okay? See that? Really, really good, easy. You know, you kind of pull them apart. Now this is the stem part. Now this is the part that if you see it's brown or very, very dark, you kind of want to peel it a little bit because again, the darker the skin of the vegetable, it does add bitterness, okay? So just for the sake of letting you know at home how you do this is kind of the root. This is a perfect part, again, for it. So again, this soup, it's gonna be kind of thick, but the thickening agent in the soup, again, there's no flour, there's no roux, I'm not doing cornstarch. It's basically just the potatoes and the vegetables. And the broccoli stems are what's gonna help thicken this soup. So if you see closer here, you come a little bit closer, you see how it's starting to come together, right? See that? Now, you just want to let that go. Now it's happy, it smells great. So again, I reserve the florets. They're going to go in towards the end because kind of, you know, you'll have that nice visual feel. It's going to make the soup look beautiful as well. Okay, so right here, now this was the bouillon with water. I did 4 cups of water and about a tablespoon of chicken bouillon. If you have cubes, that's okay. So we're adding that to the pot, okay? Now we do want to add an addition of water as well. You can certainly do all water, you can do all stock, but here, again, it's gonna be a balance, okay? So if you see here, come a little closer. You see how everything is coming together? Again, it's a one-pot wonder, guys. Let this, you know, marry, let it cook really well, okay? And this is just going to be luxurious. So once the soup is done, there are so many different toppings that you can do. For today, what I did was I took a nice sharp cheddar. This is about like an 8-ounce block. I just took it and I shaved it. You know, so this is going to be a great garnish that's going to go on top of the soup. Now, you can certainly use crumbled bacon, pancetta, chorizo, Italian sausage, whatever you want for that smokiness. Virginia ham. There is no rules. It's what you like to eat. You may have something in your refrigerator that you want to use up. You know, you might have some dry sausage or something like that. Again, it's going to add smokiness and flavor to your dish. Okay, but for this sake, it's going to be strictly vegetarian. It will not be vegan because I used butter, obviously, in the first step, and I'm going to finish it with cheddar cheese. But you can certainly make it vegan as well, using, you know, extra virgin olive oil. No butter and obviously no cheese at the end. You know, maybe some roasted beets or something like that you can sprinkle on top. There are a lot of different things that you can do. Leeks, you know, again, the combinations are endless. Okay, so now this is cooking away. This is going to take honestly about 25 minutes to about a half hour. Okay, so you kind of want everything to be happy in there. Everything's like just look, and look how great it is. You know, it's probably a quarter way to the process, but look at that. Doesn't this look great? Look at that. This is the beginning of something beautiful, guys. I assure you, this is one of my favorite soups. Again, it's not a major effort. There's nothing to be intimidated about. Early in my career, I did attain my fame by making soups. Everyone called me the soup Nazi, believe it or not. I was a quiet guy, and what they never knew was that I did everything else. I made soups when I had free time, but that seemed to be the claim of fame, you know. So my former club, Greenbrook, you know, I was very, very famously known for Tony's soups. Chef Tony's soups were always on the menu. Towards the end of the year, members would purchase quarts, and you know, if they were going to go to their ski lodge or go away, they would definitely stock up because, you know, it's a meal. A soup is a great meal. You can do a tailgating party with soup, believe it or not. There's just so many things you can do. It freezes really well. If you make a big batch of soup like this, let's say you got about 2 gallons or so, you can get quart containers, okay? Put the soup in there, put the lids on them, okay? And you can put them in your freezer, and they will hold for about 3 to 6 months in your freezer, okay? okay? So soup's a great thing. You can put it in a freezer bag. There's so many different versatile applications that you can do for it. But again, soups are great. Probably in my repertoire, I probably have a few hundred of them. My inspiration again for soup is I'll walk in my walk-in box, I'll look at my produce, I'll see what I have, and a lot of the best soups I've ever made have been that, you know. So again, it's uniqueness, it's fun. You think about the flavors you like, you can certainly work with turmeric, different flavors out there. I love the seasonings that are out there now. There's just so many different flavors, but again, you always go back to the basic, and the basic, again, the fundamentals of soup, mirepoix, right? Celery, onions, carrots, right? A little bit of garlic, some great stock, whatever starch. It could be pasta, it could be potato, it could be beans. If you have any meats that you want to throw in there, you can certainly do that. The great thing about soup is that, you know what, you put a little bit in, you get a lot out. So again, having this unit that I have here, it's great because once the soup is done, there's a hold setting. I just put it on hold, put the lid on it, and it's available all day. So imagine the winter time, it's snowing outside, you know, you got your family. It's just great. It's just a very, very versatile thing to have. Okay, so as you see, everything's coming together. It smells really great. See that? If you can come a little bit closer, you can see what's going on in the pot, but you see how beautiful this soup is, and it's not done yet. You know, again, we're getting there. The potatoes are starting to break up, and again, those, you know, that's what's going to help thicken your soup. It's not going to be like a thick, heavy soup. If you want to make it very, very thick, you certainly could. You could add roux to it. You can add heavy cream. It'll just make it more luxurious. But for today's purpose, we just want to be a pure, you know, simple, straightforward. Okay. So now this is cooking out. Okay. So you want to let this go. I want to say probably about another 10 minutes or so. I can feel the vegetables, you know, as I'm whisking it. And the reason why I'm whisking it is because I want everything to break down and really melt together. Now, I'm using a whisk, but certainly if you have a hand mixer, you can just go in there, kind of pulse it a little bit. You can take a cup, you know, spoon some out, put it into a blender, okay? And then reintroduce it back into the pot. But again, that's if you want a nice creamy consistency. Myself, I do like a rustic, hearty soup, you know, with chunks of vegetables. So this way everything really marries to well, you know, really well together. Again, it just smells great. And, you know, honestly, with just very simple flavors, just again, the flavor combinations, you know, I always say flavor profiles, you know, flavor pals, they're just things that work together. And that's the beauty of soups, you know. There's good soups and then there's great soup. We want to make great. And my philosophy in the kitchen is that good is the enemy of great. Everyone is good, but very few people are great. So when I make something, I try to put as much love into it as I can. And when I step away from a final product, that is the best product that I can do. So in the kitchen, you know, you taste as you go. I certainly don't want anyone in my kitchen that doesn't taste their food. You know, listen, you gradual and you build flavors, just building in layers and layers. And that's why, you know, we started a pot, hot pan, melted the butter first, threw in the celery, then the carrots, then the onions, you know, kind of cooked that down to translucent. Everything is steps. So again, focus on techniques. The ingredients are your own. You know, you could do this soup with sweet potato. You can do it with baked potato. You know, what's a famous loaded potato soup, right? What do the steakhouses do? They take all their leftover baked potatoes and rather than discard them, they make these beautiful soups out of them, and they're good. There's nothing wrong, you know. The perfect kitchen is a kitchen that utilizes everything, and I certainly, my background, I learned very early on in my career that we don't waste anything, you know. A lot of people out there, you know, the chefs, you know, they want the perfect product and they use the base, but what do you do with all the derivatives, you know? And that's why we talk about making stocks. Just utilizing everything in the kitchen, you know, basically. We don't throw out anything, but again, going back to stocks, you know, when you make a stock pot, it's not a garbage pail. You know, one of my instructions, again, I go back to school, good stock, good product, right? You wouldn't eat an apple and throw the apple, the core of it, into the stock pot, right? No. Some chefs, they like to use carrot trimmings, the bitter root ends of vegetables. Now that's old school. If you won't eat it, don't put it into your stock pot. That's funny because, again, you know, some of the old chefs that I worked under, they said, if you want carrot trimmings, you know, skinned, then put it on your salad and have it, but don't put it into the pot. Again, everything is made with love. Certainly anything that you wouldn't eat, you certainly wouldn't introduce it, you know, into a pot, okay? So we're going along. If you get a little bit closer, you see everything's really coming together really nicely here. There is a final step to this soup. Again, we reserved a lot of the florets here. I probably have a lot more than I need, but we really like broccoli. So now we're gonna add the broccoli, okay, in batches here to the soup. So now they're florets that we cut down into size, and this is just gonna make everything great. Certainly if I want to make a puree of broccoli soup, I'll just puree the whole thing, you know, it'd be a great, you know, puree of broccoli soup. But again, I do like rustic, so we're just gonna add everything in here. This is gonna be really loaded broccoli, but that's okay, you know. We're gonna love this. It's gonna break down a little bit, and it's also gonna add a little bit of viscosity to the soup, so giving you body. But come closer, just look how beautiful this looks. How it's just coming together. It's just one big pot of happiness. Can you see the soup here? Can you see what it looks like here? Look how great this is. Final stage, the ends justify the means. You want to come a little bit closer, you can see. Right now the soup is about 95% done, okay? Pretty much, I already added the florets to it. If you see the picture here, everything is just in together really, really nicely. I mean, it looks amazing. I assure you, it tastes just as great as it looks. Minimal effort, very simple again. So now to serve it, you got a nice little soup bowl here, okay? So you know you want to portion it out, and again, it's not a cream soup, okay? So it's not like a pureed soup or anything like that. So you do have a little combination of everything going on. This is just wonderful, wonderful. Now if you get a little bit closer, you'll see, okay? Here's the soup, and you know, for today, I opted to do a nice sharp cheddar. So that's what I have here, a nice beautiful Vermont sharp cheddar. So when you serve it, you know, you just want a little mound over here. You know, that's just gonna add some really interesting flavor. You can certainly use provolone, you can use Parmesan, whatever you like, you know. Again, there's no rules, it's basically what you like to eat. So, you know, have fun, use your favorite. But here is the final product, okay? Right here, one big bowl of happiness, and here we go. Come and have some. Again, I hope you enjoyed today's demonstration. Just a little labor of love again. You know, we are confined to our quarters right now, but you know, we should just try to be, you know, make it productive, make it fun. You know, we are together. Family's been together for quite some time. I can't remember the last time I've been this close to my family. So again, with this, all the events that are happening right now, this is a blessing in disguise. It gives us a chance to rekindle our relationships with our family, okay? Again, from my heart to yours, welcome, and I hope to see you all very soon. Thank you very much.